Hello and welcome to my vlog to Italy. My research paper has been accepted. So as an academic, I write research papers, I conduct research, and then we present those papers to other academics and they give us feedback. I'll tell you all the details later. But this time, this is accepted in an international conference which is taking place in Venice, Italy. Now, I'm really excited to attend this conference, not only because I'm going to present my paper and get feedback from other colleagues, but also for the fact that I've never been to Venice myself. And I thought, this is a new place I'm going to. Why don't I take you guys with me as well? So let's go and explore Venice together. Although, let me just tell you one thing. I'm only going to be there for 3 days. So my schedule is going to be very tight with all my work. So I'll try my best to take you around places, but let's see how much I can do. Well, I'm not sure about you, but I'm kind of a nervous traveler. Although, it's a very paradoxical thing because I love traveling. Equally, I do not like really airplanes. So yeah, you tell me, how can I travel without sitting in an airplane? Anyways, traveling does make me nervous, and when you're traveling on your own, it's even more. But for the love of traveling, I always do it. Now hear this out. I love traveling. I don't like sitting in the planes. Equally, I love the views from the plane. Now, this is all quite contradictory, I know, right? But what can you do? This is how life is. You like things, you don't like things. You have to do things you don't like. And anyways, let's just talking about that. And let's just appreciate the beautiful view which you can see from the plane. Actually, I find it quite deep and philosophical the minute the plane leaves the ground and starts flying over the city. It just makes me feel that you're kind of going to start a new beginning, and the thought of that is quite refreshing. Do let me know if you ever feel the same when you're traveling or if you're going to a new place, and especially when you're just going through these clouds. It's kind of scary because the plane kind of shakes as well, but equally I cannot still fathom the fact that I'm going through the clouds. Although I've been traveling for many years now, but I still, every single time the plane goes through the clouds, I have the same feeling which I can't really describe in words. And believe it or not, every single time I fly, I film the clouds. But just look at the view. It's so beautiful. For some reason, I cannot help myself but to film the clouds. Can you see the little shadow on your screen? This little shadow of the plane. Isn't it beautiful? Because at the time it was a bit sunny, and seeing this halo effect made me so happy that I had to film it. And yeah, look at that. Look at the small circle. And actually, this is the first time I'm seeing these kind of Alps beautiful. An announcement, and the pilot who was flying the plane really made it very clear. And it told all the passengers to look outside from the window for this beautiful view. There's something in these Alps, and there's a lot of power. It feels like they are trying to gravitate you to themselves. But again, some thoughts which are very hard to explain in words. I find the confined places really very productive for some weird reason. So if I'm traveling on a plane or on a train, I always find myself very productive and I can get a lot of work done. And so I thought, well, although it's not going to be a very long flight to Venice, but let me just try and get some work done. And actually, I was quite productive. Now we have reached the Venice airport. This is the Marco Polo airport, Venice International Airport. Because that's what you're there for. Well, not really. Just kidding. You're there for so many more things. But yeah, it's almost night now, and I gotta sleep so I can wake up early in the morning and go to the conference, because I'm presenting my paper on the second day. But it's always good to go to the conference on day one, meet other delegates, also to kind of see the vibe of the conference and attend other sessions which could be useful in your own research, and perhaps also you can do some collaboration. See you tomorrow. Let's start the day. So I'm staying in a hotel in Venice called Antico Panada, and the history of the hotel goes back to 1890s. It's a very kind of antique hotel which consists of 2 buildings, and the stairs were so narrow, and actually the design was pretty much like a maze. And during my stay at the hotel, I was not really able to find my way very easily. I was getting lost all the time, because if you look at the design of the hotel, it was pretty much like a maze, and with all these beautiful Italian paintings mounted all over the hotel, which was kind of very unique, and I haven't seen that in many other hotels. But of course, this is Venice, which is very much historical, so it was really kind of interesting to see how they've built these hotels, and I found this quite interesting. And as soon as you leave the hotel, after passing through all the streets, this is the way you go to get your boat. Now, interesting thing about Venice is that, similar to other cities where in order to move around from one point to the other, public transport is mostly buses, taxis and whatnot. But in a city like Venice, it's boats. So if you have to travel from one island to the other, you have to take a boat. And similar to bus stations, you have boat stations, and you can buy a ticket, and therefore you can just travel on the boat. And the history of Venice actually goes back to many thousand years ago, when the city was built. And actually this city is built on water, so it's all water around. And a friend of mine was telling me later, once I came back from Venice, that you should have watched that documentary which was all about how they've built the city. And if you had watched that, you would never go to Venice, because it's kind of scary to think that there's just water all around you. Anyways, without digressing anymore, so I just bought the ticket from this ticket master. I bought the ticket for 3 days. It was cheaper, and once you buy the ticket, you can take any boat around, and you can go to any island around. So in Venice, approximately there are 118 islands, and these are separated by canals and linked by bridges, and therefore you'll also see in many places Venice is referred to as a city of bridges and canals as well, where you can just take the gondola, also referred to a boat, and you can move from one island to the other. And as you can see, it says taxi stand. So these are all taxis. So if ever you visit Venice, don't get confused that, oh, I don't see any cars here. Of course, you won't see any cars here, because it's all on water. So you would be just taking a taxi. If you would just want to private hire, you can do that. But of course, I'm going to take a boat, which is like a bus. So this is my stop. So the name of my stop was San Zaccaria, and I was going to San Cervello, where the conference was taking place. So the conference venue was this island as well. And you can see all these timings on the screen, that what time is your boat or the next boat. So it's pretty much like a bus service. Yes, I arrived at the conference. This is a conference booklet they provide you, and it also had my name in it. It had all the schedule of all the presenters who will be presenting. So from now onwards, I'm not going to be filming, because I have to pay attention to what's going on, and I need to attend some sessions. I'll see you after the end of the day. Well, it was a long, tiring day. And actually, the bad news is that the weather is not very nice either. So as you can see, it's all gloomy and kind of cloudy. But this is the island on which my conference was, called San Cervello. And I have taken a boat. I was feeling too tired to film anymore, so I just took a boat from that island, got back to where I was staying, on the island I was staying on, and I just started walking now, just to kind of see the city. Look at that. I mean, the bridges, the canals, and these bridges, actually, you see, you just take a gondola and you can travel between different islands as well. And you can see very narrow streets with all kinds of shops on your both sides. It was winter time, so it was a very different kind of a weather as well, especially if it's cloudy and gloomy in winter. It's not the same as it's on sunny days, but well, what can you do? You can't really control the weather. One thing I've learned living in the UK is that you have to just go by your plans without looking at the weather, because you never know when it's going to rain and when it's going to be sunny. So I have stopped paying attention to the weather, and I've just tried to focus on what I can do actually given the day, considering you cannot control the weather. Very beautiful decoration around, because it was winter time, so they always try to put these things. Some fun facts about Venice: it has no cars, no roads, just canals, as I was telling you earlier, and also almost around 400 bridges, which is connecting all the islands. So you either got to be walking around, or perhaps you have to take a boat. Another interesting fact about Venice, Venice Carnival is a world famous for its elaborate masks. So when you go to Venice, you'll see all these kind of masks which are sold in the city. And actually, there's a history behind that. So back in the day, when people really wanted to move freely, they wanted to do things which was not really aligned with their status, they would wear these masks so that they can do things freely without being judged by the people around them. And as time has progressed, people have kept that tradition alive, but of course now it's more kind of fun and entertainment. It's not for the same reason as it was done back in the day. So I also tried my hands on this mask. Let me know, how do you like it? Venice is also a site for UNESCO World Heritage. That means that they cannot make much changes in the structure of the city, in the infrastructure, without getting all the permissions. Also, unfortunately, it's said that it's gradually sinking at about 1 to 2 millimeters per year. And literally, it's really a constant battle to keep the city above the water. Alright, with that, now I'm just going back to my hotel and I'll try to find something to eat. I'll tell you about all these places tomorrow. Really tired after this very tiring day. So I'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back. It's day 2. I'm already at the breakfast table and I really wanted to show you these beautiful paintings all around. Just left the hotel and I'm taking you again with me today. The reason being because it's really beautiful, nice and sunny. And I've just realized, when I came to the UK, I only realized the importance of sunlight and how really that makes a difference in your mood as well. When I was back home in Pakistan, I never realized the importance of that. Anyways, that's how we all are, isn't it? What we have, we always take it for granted. But let me just take you with me on the boat and we'll take the journey together and I'll just tell you some more interesting things about Venice. So when you look at this beautiful city, you do wonder, how come the city is really built in water? And I did some research on that. It's built on actually millions of wooden stakes which has been driven into the mud. And you may wonder, well, if it's wood, why it has not really rotten as yet? The reason being, because for centuries it's been submerged in water and doesn't rot in under oxygen poor conditions. That's the reason why we still see the city in all its glory in the same condition. However, if you have that thought in mind when you take the boat, it might not really work for you because you might get a bit scared. Oh my god, these are all woods under the water on which you are moving. Now let's just enjoy and take this all in before the start of another busy day at my conference. Alright, so I'm just going in to the venue again on second day, but today it all looks quite different because it's nice, beautiful and sunny, and I'm just going to find where is my next session before I get really busy in the further session of the conference, and so I'll see you later. Actually, I forgot to tell you, today is my presentation day, so I will be presenting my research today. I'm very excited about that, but equally nervous. I mean, I love presenting and I get all kinds of emotions when I'm presenting. The feeling of nervousness, excitement. So I'm looking forward to it, and in the meantime I've attended a conference session. It's a really beautiful day, so I've come out and just soak some sun in, and these statues are very popular in Italy. I think it's called Dancing Girl or something, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so let me go and present my paper. I look forward to hearing all the comments I would receive from my colleagues. Actually, what happens in conferences is that you write a paper. If the reviewers like the paper, they would accept the paper, they would invite you to present. So they have invited me to present my paper now at this conference, and for which I'm here. So what happens next is that I would go in the room, I would present my research paper, and people in the room would ask me questions on why I've done that, how I've done that, and that would be it. It sounds very simple and easy, but it's not, of course, that straightforward. A lot of things go behind the scenes as well, but I've presented and now I can relax the rest of the day. Another really tiring day, but I'm actually relieved that my presentation is done. I've got some really good feedback, some really good pointers to work on, which I'll be working on. And now I'm just taking the boat, and I'm so happy today that the weather is so good that I can enjoy actually the scenery a lot more while going back to my hotel. All these small places you see right now, these are the small islands across the city, and you can, as I was telling you earlier, you can take any boat and get off at any point based on your boat ticket. Isn't that crazy to just travel on water all along? And actually there was a day when they had to stop boats for 2 hours because it was really windy, and they said it's really dangerous and they cannot let the boats dry. So that also happens on a windy day when they don't really allow the boats to go on. But if I tell you honestly, that really makes me scared because I don't know how to swim, and going into the water not knowing how to swim could bring its fair share of challenges, but well, here we are. While going back to my hotel, let me tell you another interesting fact about Venice. Pigeons at one point practically ruled this area, San Marco. And of course now, feeding them is banned, but in the past they were so iconic that locals claimed they were the real residents of the square. And I find that quite interesting. In Venice, you'll find all these small restaurants all around, and they're so yum, and also the decoration and the interiors are really good, very Italian. So I had quick lunch there before I came out and started sightseeing again. And I believe that you can only learn about any place once you talk to the local people, and actually I do the same thing. So I was talking to local people only to learn that all these gondolas / boats you see here, and the people who drive them, I mean the captain of the boat, they have to be of a certain weight at the time that they get the license for these boats, because these boats can only take a certain number of people, and if the weight of that captain goes above that limit, they are not allowed to drive that boat. Isn't that interesting? So the captain of the boat have to maintain that weight throughout their lifetime as they are running or as they are driving these boats, and once they retire, then they can go all out with their weight. Let me take you to Museo di Palazzo Germani. I am sure any Italian, if they would hear me speak like that, they would just laugh at me, but at least I'm trying. It's a museum, but kind of away from all the touristic attractions in the Castello district, and it's very unique Venetian places because of its Roman-inspired architecture, which is totally different from the Gothic style we see everywhere in Venice. It was built in 16th century, and the designs are inspired by ancient Roman villas. And what I really loved about this place is the ceilings. They had such beautiful Renaissance designs that every ceiling was different, and every ceiling had some message to convey or the other. And actually, another interesting fact about this museum is that even before museums were made public, this was a personal museum. It was day 2. I hope you enjoyed the journey. I'll see you tomorrow. This morning I'll just have a quick cereal before I head out, and the plan for today is that I'm going to go out because I have some time. My flight is later today, and I will be taking the boat from this island, and I'll be going all the way back to the airport, San Marco airport in Venice. So the plan today is the weather's going to be nice, it's sunny, so I'll be just sightseeing and I'll take you with me. Actually, this past few days have been extremely tiring and hectic as well, because it's always great to come to the conferences, but all the work you have to do beforehand and the work you have to do afterwards, and also the work you do during the conference is just too much. But of course, it's very exciting to go to a new place, meet new people, share your research, and of course, see what's happening in the world of your research area as well. I find myself in this kind of environments really buzzing with a lot of ideas. So every single time I'm at a conference or an event, I have so many ideas that I really want to work upon. But the minute I get back to my place, the first few days are really very, very positive, uplifting, buzzing with the ideas. But as the reality kicks in, you realize that, well, there's a lot of work which needs to be done. So I'll get back to my ideas later. And that's something I'm really trying to work on right now, that if I have some idea, I should execute that there and then before it's too late. And yes, I forgot to tell you something. So I don't drink coffee anymore. I used to love coffee at one point, but not anymore. I've quit coffee and I'm only into tea now. And Italy is famous for its coffee, right? So that was a struggle to get through that machine, which I just saw earlier. Anyways, I did that, and now I'm all ready for my breakfast, and I'm going to have my breakfast. And plan for today is that today is the final day of the conference, and it's going to be really nice sunny day as well. I've checked the weather forecast, and I hope that's true. And after attending the few sessions in the conference which I left, I'm planning to go around in the nice weather today, just to look around the main attractions and find my way through. And once that's done, I need to catch my flight later this afternoon. So I'm hoping I would have a couple of hours before my flight. So I'll do that. I've come back to my room now just to make sure I'm ready and I can kind of pack my stuff. I hate packing anyways. So yeah, I'm out and going to start my touristic things now. Right, so good news is it's really nice and sunny today. It's Piazza San Marco, which is famous for its the cathedral church and the San Marco clock tower. And this is one of the most famous places in the world, and of course in Italy, Venice as well. If you look outside this church, they have drawn all these pictures to tell a story. Each scene tells a story. It's really interesting to look at. And then you have San Marco clock tower, very interesting one. At the top you can see two figures would ring the bell every hour, and one figure is supposed to be an old person and the second one is a young person, just to show how quickly the time changes and passage of time. Underneath that you can see the lion, which is the sign of Venice, and then underneath again you can see other figures. So all this has a lot of historical significance, built in late 14th, early 15th century. Now I'm taking you to Florian Cafe, which is one of the most oldest cafe in Italy and the second most oldest in Europe. I couldn't film inside the cafe, but when you go inside, you feel like you have stepped back in the history. It's from the 17th century, and most of the famous writers, for example Charles Dickens and the others, have spent their time in this cafe, so it has a lot of historical significance again. And now I'm going to take you with me on the boat to go back to the airport. As you can see, it's beautiful, and just looking outside at this view makes you think and wonder about nature's beauty as well, and how many beautiful things there are in the world for us to just see, appreciate, and be thankful for. I'm sure you must have taken some kind of a bus or a train or any kind of, local transport. You must have used that. In Venice, as I said earlier, boats are the means of traveling, even if you're going back to your airport. So I'm on this boat, and you'll see on our way now that the boat would keep on stopping on different stops to take people and go to the airport. And I was sitting here thinking, which stop is next? Actually, I was trying to remember all these both stops, but of course I can't remember all of them. So I've taken this very quick videos as well. I couldn't capture all the stops, but just to give you an idea that how these different stops are there where people will be picked from and then would be taken to the airport. And going back, I was thinking about time and how it really changes, and how our priorities change with time, how our perspective change with time, and also how we as people change with time. Do let me know if you ever have noticed anything changes in you with time. So certainly I have. There's so much which changes with time, because that's the whole point of growing as well and evolving as people, that we keep on learning and we keep on improving ourselves within our own remit. So yeah, this is the next stop called Kelowna. Now, the place I came from, that was one of the stops, and this is the next stop. And then you'll see another one on our way where more passengers will be picked from. And just like that, we have reached the airport. Just look at this view. And actually, when I got off from the boat, I stood here for a good few minutes because I still had time for my flight, and I knew I'm early. I'm always a bit anxious while traveling. I want to be early than late. And I just stood here just to admire the view, because these days we do not really appreciate the nature enough. We're so busy and bogged down in our phones and our work and our lives, and particularly in our minds, really, that we don't really pay attention to our surroundings. And this moment I just took some time to look outside and see how beautiful nature is. And as you can see, a boat is coming. I was in a similar boat, but of course I couldn't film outside of it. So I just thought I'll show you the boat is coming, and then it would take people off. And if I tell you something honestly, I have enjoyed Venice, of course I did, but I could not wait to be on the ground. So by that what I mean, I was actually quite, what's the right word? Nervous all the time while being on water, because wherever you're traveling in Venice is via boat, right? Of course, boats are never stable since it's on water. So the minute I saw this scene, the minute I saw the road, I was so happy that the ground beneath my feet is stable and strong, and it's not really trembling. So I was very relieved. I don't know what you will think about that, but to be honest, being on water all the time is not my thing, and I could enjoy a good few days, but not more than that. So yeah, with that, we are at the Marco Polo airport. I am headed back to the UK with a lot of good memories, a lot of learning, and above all, really good feedback about my paper, which I'll work on to submit into a journal, and I'm really hoping it would get published. And I hope you like this video. It's a different video from my usual videos on my channel, which is all about self-improvement, productivity. This time I just wanted to take you with me on this journey, and I hope you enjoyed it. Back home in the UK, there's a very bad storm happening, so I'll just go home and I'll take some rest now. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.